Hey, good afternoon.
Hey Matt, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
All right. Start this transcript.
Hi, Greg. I'm Matt. Hi, Andrew.
And Matt, are you just waiting on Brian? Is that it?
John from our side should be joining any minute now
Okay.
too. Should be everyone. I know that Chip said that he might be joining a few minutes later, not at all, right?
Yeah, we can just get going. So I'll start, just call the meeting to order. If there is anybody on, it doesn't look like it, but if anybody does join, just for the record, this is a meeting of the of a subcommittee for the CCF Quantapalo Parkway project of the Zoning Board of Appeals. During this meeting, there will not be any opportunity for members of the public to speak. That will have to wait until this is brought up in front of the full board. Then if there is new testimony, then there'll be opportunity to speak then. Again, doesn't look like anybody is from the public, but just in case. So I'll turn it over to you, Matt, I think.
Great. So we, just in response to some of the conversations we've been having, we wanted to touch on the community space program that we're proposing here and what we've done to address that and expand upon that. Copley Wolf here prepare the presentation. I'll let John actually run through that. And then there's some items at the end just about some kind of further study into the landscape and what we're doing to screen the garage from a landscape perspective as well. So that's the kind of the second part of this that we wanted to add in while we have everyone here.
Okay, sounds good. I will caution on the landscapes screening part. I guess that is more Chip's area. I know he asked for more options, I think, right, at the meeting. This meeting was only noticed as part of the amenity space. So I don't know if we should really, you can mention them, but I don't know if we should really get into that part of it much. Just specific from a legal standpoint, it wasn't noticed as that. So
Yeah, I think you're right, Greg. I agree with you on that, Greg. 100%. Yep.
hi, Brian.
Hi, Greg. Okay, John, you gonna take it?
Yeah, Matt, do you have can you share the presentation? Or do you have the?
I have it up and can share if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll send you that. We don't have much on the garage anyway, so no worries there.
It looks like I need permission to share.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's my
Oh,
fault.
okay.
1 second. You should be able to now.
Thank you.
All right. So what we had, what we did here was just we put together some bullet points on what we were talking about last time to help organize the presentation. So as you can see in the landscape plan below, this is what we had previously. So we had, a few things we talked about here: the public restrooms, the public safety office, and then this kind of terrace in the middle. And what we did after our last call was to kind of take a step back and work on consolidating this and rethinking that center part of the site to make it kind of, operate more as a public amenity for the lake and for the town. So Elsa, if you could switch to the next slide here. And the way we've been trying to rethink this area is really, making this what we're calling the upper common a more, a more meaningful place or stop along the lake. As you can see, there's kind of a void that exists today with the commercial developments that are up there. And we think that we can, hopefully try to fill that gap. Go to the next slide. So this is what we had before. You can see on the bottom is the public path that's on our property. The black dotted line is at the bottom left is the property line itself. And then, like we've been talking about for a while, that new path is kind of closer to the buildings. And then what we had previously was the seat wall that kind of funneled into the site. And one of the comments that we heard was that this kind of created a, kind of a gate or a kind of line in the sand about where it was public and where it was private. And it felt too secluded or sectioned off and, not as welcoming as was desired. So we had Ian and Allison go and, take that and take another stab at, what a different approach would look like to this area. So Allison, if you could switch to the next slide. This sketch here shows a new concept that we would like to talk through today, which is really, getting rid of that barrier and creating a new terrace that, so coming in from the community path that kind of breaks down intentionally and creates a terrace that's connected to an indoor space that is in building 2 here labeled public space. We would consolidate the public restrooms, the public safety office, and some lounge space into that new corner of the building, building 2. And that would kind of operate as both an indoor space, but then an outdoor space that space would spill out to and connect to this community path. We can come back to this. We've also widened it and added spots for things like food trucks off the driveway. You can see those food trucks in red. And the idea here is that this whole plaza could operate as not something that's private to the residents or the building or the property, but that it could be shared and that we could regularly program different kinds of events here in this space that you can get to either by walking around the lake or walking out your front door or parking and walking over here. And then that this area connects to the larger green space that is off our property down by the lake's edge. And if you go to we have a couple of slides of precedent images here about what we're thinking that this space could be. These are pictures of different places around the Boston area that have these kind of indoor outdoor spaces. We can touch on a number of these during the discussion. And Allison, if you go to the next slide, some concepts of what we think the indoor space would be. So again, having kind of the spaces work together. So open large doors and windows that open so that you can use both the inside and outside spaces together. What else do we have? Yeah, go back. We won't talk about this. We had some stuff on the garage, but so Allison, if you could go back to the rendered plan or the sketch, would welcome comments on and thoughts on kind of the direction that we're trying to take this now. But our goal was to make a outdoor space that's clearly feels like it's public and not private to the community.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I won't speak for Chip, but I like the direction it's going. I think it makes, oh, there's Chip too. So just for the record, I think Chip is joining. And in more thinking about it, just from a safety standpoint, I think it makes a lot of sense to have the public restrooms be where the public safety office is, just again, straight with, people, I don't know, trying to stay in them overnight or something like that. Just a question that, I don't know, almost I'm trying to just right below where it says public terrace, and what are those, or is that just sort of thoughts?
Hey, Ian or Allison, you want to take us? I think I know, but why don't you guys chime in here?
Sure. So the idea is that those are kind of flexible public seating elements,
Oh, okay.
just placemaking and, public amenity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. And then you said expand it a little bit. So where the food truck is, oh, okay, actually I can see it now. I didn't see that the bump out is still there where the food truck could pull in. Okay, I thought that got narrower. Okay. And then I guess
In
what
my
do you,
mind, the food trucks could, drive down closer to that public terrace if so desired, and, like an ice cream truck or something like that.
okay,
It's all kind of flush. You come up to the tabletop at the top, and we'll have to figure out bollards and so cars don't come down there. But
Yep.
that this could be, if there's a 5K on the weekend, that you could have a food truck or two. You could kind of open up the doors. The bathrooms are there, kind of a staging area. Really try to keep it flexible.
okay. And is the thought that this would be all like sort of, I see two different materials used, the public terrace side be public, like it says, and then the building one terrace side be more, yeah, this is for residents, and it's, it's a smaller space, but obviously residents would have some sort of almost reserved spot. Is that kind of the thinking? Not
the building
reserved
one.
spot, but right, the one right by build where it says building one terrace. It's different
Yeah.
material. Looks like there's still a wall there. It's kind of shaded off by some vegetation there.
I think so. I mean, Ian, what were you? I thought that was like a seat wall there, so that you could still go up there. It's not like a
Yeah.
fenced-in area, but that
Yeah.
it felt more like, okay, that's more private, whereas the community path material kind of extends up into the site. So as you're walking around the lake, you clearly get to a spot that maybe you're getting visual cues from what's on the ground to tell you kind of that this is all public, where the terrace area feels more like a deck or something.
Yeah, that's definitely the idea. That there's a little bit of a grade change, and we just thought it made sense to have some diversity in material there. So that's why there's two different things shown. I think more importantly, as John touched on, really the idea of that kind of public paving comes all the way down, almost like a welcoming mat, where it engages with the community path to kind of really provide that cue that it's public space.
Okay, yeah, this makes sense. So, yeah, it's not like you couldn't, if a member from the public couldn't, has to stay out of the building one terrace labeled area, but it's a little bit different. There is, some sort of space for the, so it's not overrun with, myself and my kids coming down there and running around people's, where people are trying to live. Okay, yeah, no, I like the direction it's taking, and I like the fact that we've pulled basically all the, other than the restaurant, which will be down the other end, pulled it more into this area. It seems to make more sense to me now, especially with the use of the material sort of flowing throughout all the way up. Looks like probably across the street. It doesn't, in my mind, leave any question anymore about where you can or should and should not go.
One thing we can add to the sketch is that the other parts of building one and building two that face this kind of central area are more public parts of our building. So like in building two, that's like the mail room, and that's the entry into the building. And in building one, that's where our leasing office will be, which is
Okay.
open in somewhat of a retail operation, where if you want to come rent an apartment, that's where you would go. So I think it's intentionally not units, and it's not privatized. Well, I guess mail rooms, I guess, are somewhat private, but it's meant to kind of feel public and glassy, and have front doors and canopies and stuff like that. So it'll feel like this, the center of
Yeah.
the project here.
Yeah, and just remind me too, or actually don't remind me, but I'll just throw out there for as will probably be discussed in the full board meeting, but the material, especially that building one terrace, looks like it might be like a wood or something. Obviously is that going to be the same as, or is the thought to have it the same as the wooden areas on the community path, or like flow with the building a little bit more, or is there thoughts yet?
I think from our perspective, and John, jump in, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a real wood material. It could just be pavers that kind of have the look of wood, like more linear and warm in tone. So it just kind of has that warmth to it.
But it'll be consistent sort of with the building and colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. More so with the building than with like the footbridges that are on the community path, which will probably be wood or synthetic wood.
And then the same question, I guess, for the, what I think is new vegetation, right? That's sort of surrounding that building one area, that would, I would assume would be consistent with what's sort of already proposed throughout the rest of the project.
Yes, yep, it'd be the same palette of native waterfront species.
Chip, if you can hear us, or I don't know if you're on your phone or can see. Oh, he may not be there.
He's there, or maybe it looks like he's,
Inside of a truck or something.
yeah. Hey, Allison, can you go back to the first slide, please? I just wanna. So on, if we, yeah, no, the one you just had. Yeah. So John, we might wanna, if we're gonna show this, we might wanna relabel this, because in Wakefield, where we've got the lower common, the upper common is right like next, that the upper common is known as what's next to the lower common. So where the lower common is on this plan, there's another common across the street further away from the lake, and
Yeah.
we refer that to, in Wakefield, we refer to that as the upper common, right, Greg?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think we want to just call our common on the other side of like something different. Like whatever side, I don't know, get creative, lower common, and then, you've got the upper common on right by the lower common. So this is going to be something different, not the upper common. Maybe new common, I don't know.
Now we have to be creative.
Yeah, now you got to think about it. Yeah. Oh, what side, what directional side of the lake is that?
Is it west?
North and west, right?
Northwest common, something.
It's kind of the head of the lake, right? That's where the source comes in.
Parkway Common or something.
Yeah, I like that. Yep. Quantipow Parkway common. That works.
It's easy.
Yeah, just simple.
So what else? Are we heading in the right direction?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I guess I can switch screens now, so I'm looking at the camera.
Oh, this
I
Chip.
don't-
Hey, Chip. You're on mute. There you go.
There he is.
So I'm gonna be in and out because I'm on a job site. So I saw the whole first presentation. I saw the new landscaping patio without the barrier. I like it. I think you're going in the right direction.
That was exactly what I was gonna say, Chip. I think go in the right direction. I don't know if you heard it. We talked very quickly about the materials and the new landscape, that it be consistent with what's on the building or what's in the landscape plan. But yeah, I don't know if I have much more to add. I like the direction this is going. I like that the common space, the bathrooms, the public safety is kind of all pulled into one, then you can go in there. I like the idea too of, I think it was Matt, or maybe it was the beginning of the presentation, that said some sort of garage door, like it can roll up, so, nice weather, it looks like it's open. Yeah, I like this, exactly what I had in mind.
What do we have? Is there a vending machine area there that the public can get to?
If you
Yeah,
can
so
go for it. Allison, do you have if you go a couple slides to the right, you can maybe, yeah, Matt, why don't you cover this one? But this is what we had in mind for pictures.
yeah, I was thinking, was that in the public amenity area where we're basically going to be inviting the public into our internal space, where there'll be co-working space or work from home space or whatever, that we would be installing this type of machine in that space as well.
Great. Just, what is it? A drink and snack machine, something like that? I can't see it. I'm on my phone.
Yeah, it's drinking snacks, any kind of convenience items, you need to pick up some headphones, whatever. All that stuff will be available in these machines.
Cool.
Yeah, it's that same sort of high-end one they talked about last time, Chip. What was it, like Tulum or something like that?
Tulu. Yep.
Tulu? Close.
Sounds good. Greg, if you're okay, I'm okay. I think it's what we talked about, and I like the entrance, the welcoming, the no barrier type of feel.
Yeah, and I think we said too, when you get to especially the indoor stuff, because it'll be, a few years before that is fully programmed. What do we say, Chip? You don't have to call out the actual program, but like square footage set aside for it or something like that, right? Is what we said?
Yeah, and I think it should list kind of scope of what it's gonna
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Because they can do vending machine wall, if they change the type of vending machine, who cares?
Mhm.
But vending machine wall, tables, that type of thing. I think they can do a pretty good job with the square footage and, because they gotta have the bathrooms there, they gotta have the public safety office there. That all has to be designed. So, even if it just says wall for vending machines, well, then nobody's going to say, hey, we didn't mean to do vending machines there.
Yeah, we'll work with Brian and try to specify that in a condition. Specific square footage and, that will be providing some furnishing for seats and vending machines and, everything we've kind of talked about here.
If you can put it on the plan, the better. We're trying to get away from doing conditions, so everything goes on plan. So when it goes in front of the building inspector and ultimately Jim again, it's right on the, especially square footage. I mean, instead of calling out in a condition that, we'll have, I don't know, 400 square feet, just marking on that area of the, the area of the plan as a note or something even is better than doing and Brian knows all this, so.
That makes sense. We can do that.
Exactly to Greg's point, the more we can get on the plan, the better we are.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I think this is the exact direction I was looking for.
Yep, me myself as well, Greg.
Awesome. So unless Matt or Brian or John or Ian have anything else, that might be a quick one.
Oh. We like quick.
Awesome.
So I guess just as a quick preview, so we'll present similar information on Wednesday at the full board meeting. We're planning to be presenting some options for the garage to hopefully settle that topic. And then Brian, I believe you had some other stuff you were gonna hopefully present.
We submitted the landscaping plans, the big sets. Hopefully you guys got those. And then,
Thank you, by the way.
yeah, and then I neatened up the conditions. Tom Lucy had mentioned, that they were kind of like all over the road, and he was right. So now we've kind of recategorized them. And when you have a chance to look at those, I think they really read much better now. You can kind of, instead of really categorizes the conditions in certain aspects of the project, which are much easier reading and simplified. And I think there'll be a spot that we can, even though we'll have stuff on the plan for this, there's a spot that we can insert in those conditions, a little bit of a narrative to kind of explain the goal here.
Yeah, but I think, Brian, as you know, we need to, the space should be allocated on the plan.
Yes. Yeah.
All stuff, so that we're not questioning the square footage. It's just what's on the plan is what gets built.
Correct. But I think just, we'll put it on the plan, and then we'll put a little narrative on what the goal is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and the other place we can capture that is in the O&M. Right? We can have a paragraph or two about the operation and maintenance of the public area.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
And then if you guys are ready with this, I don't know if with this stuff, if you want to bring it also on Wednesday or wait till you have the actual plan ready to go. That's sort of up to you guys.
On this, Greg?
Yeah, on what we just talked about today.
Yeah, I think we want to kind of present it at least to the whole board, just because, that way we can get hopefully your recommendations to the board that you're satisfied. And I think that's going to be kind of an important part to move this along.
That works Works for me.
And then on our final plan submittals and the plan reconciliation, we'll incorporate what you want.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I think that's
All
it
right.
then.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
You.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.